Ladies and gentlemen, it's 8 o'clock and it's time to start the celebration. Welcome to those of you joining us via YouTube. I am Jim Brown, the president of National Test Pilot School and your host for this graduation ceremony. Thank you for logging in from around the world to show your support for our soon-to-be graduates. We spared you the formalities of our opening ceremony and the indignity of watching us eat. Now come the highlights of the evening. The year 2024 has seen National Test Pilot School flourish with record numbers of students enrolled. The class just starting now is the largest rotary wing cohort in the history of the school. We are under That was a helicopter guy, if anybody didn't pick up on that. We're under contract to populate our simulator facility in time for the 2024 Performance and Handling Qualities modules. This will consist of variable stability fixed wing and rotary wing simulators, as well as a fourth generation fighter F-18 style cockpit. These will greatly enhance and improve our instructional and research capability. Our manning continues to improve with qualified, experienced, and enthusiastic instructors. Dr. Rodriguez continues to lead our research arm with strategic partnerships established or developing with the Federal Aviation Administration, Systems Technology Incorporated, Politecnico di Torino, California Polytechnic University, San Luis Obispo, Purdue University, go Riley, Flight Level Engineering, the Italian Research Council, Gulfstream, and the Indian Air Force Test Pilot School. Our guest speaker tonight is Mr. Greg Morris, the president of Scaled Composites and no stranger to NTPS. Greg joined Scaled as the president in 2023, having previously supported Scaled's flight operations as an additional crew for Proteus and Chase for the Model 401 missions. In addition to his presidential duties, Greg is a test pilot for Scaled, currently checked out as a pilot for Ares. Prior to Scaled, he was the president and chief pilot for Gauntlet Aerospace, including 7 years of flight school and 10 years of flight test operations. He taught at the Air Force Test Pilot School and provided target and chase support for the 412th Test Wing at Edwards. He's a FAA designated pilot examiner, having given check rides in the L-39, L-29, Scaled Composites, Proteus, and the Model 401 Sierra. Greg received a Bachelor of Science degree from the University of Southern California, and he has a Master of Science degree in Flight Test Engineering from National Test Pilot School. And come on up here. And something Greg does not know, but as of Wednesday, he became an associate fellow in the Society of Experimental Test Pilots. Greg, podium's yours.
Awesome. Thank you very much, JB. I think I've got one test point to get through, and that's don't be boring. So let me know how I do in about 15 minutes. All right. Yeah. I am incredibly excited to be here tonight and to speak to you. So first, for all the graduates, congratulations. You've worked hard through the year with academics, flying, report writing, more academics, more report writing, then you wrote some reports. This has led you all to this point, and today we get to celebrate your achievements. We get to thank your loved ones who supported you through this journey and for all the sacrifices to help you get to this point. More importantly, you get to take a breath and reflect on the amazing opportunities you've had at this incredible school. As JB mentioned, I'm fortunate to be the president of Scaled Composites. For those of you that are familiar with Scaled, including two of our employees who are in the audience, so hopefully you're familiar. Spencer's waving, subdued as always. I appreciate that, Spencer. Thank you. I'm glad you're familiar. For those that aren't, you should feel bad, but let me take you on a brief thought journey to understand why we get there. Okay. I'll introduce Scaled a bit the same way I do for people when we take them on a tour. So US only tours, sorry foreigners, I had to recognize that includes most of the room. If you go to Washington, D.C., go to the National Mall, put the Washington Monument behind you and walk towards the Capitol. A few blocks ahead of the Capitol, look on your right side, the National Air and Space Museum. Walk off the entrance to the mall, and in the Milestones of Flight gallery inside, you'll see the Wright Flyer. Next to it, the Bell X-1, the first aircraft to break the sound barrier. The Apollo 11 command modules in front of you, with John Glenn's Friendship 7 capsule, where he became the first American to orbit the Earth above that. Of that X-15 serial number 1, and next to it, in the feather configuration from Flight 15P, which was 20 years ago next week, Spaceship One, designed, built, and flown at Scaled Composites. If you walk upstairs, you see Voyager, designed by Burt Rutan, the first aircraft to fly around the world unrefueled. If you drive out to Udvar-Hazy at the Dulles Airport, Global Flyer hangs from the ceiling, in which Steve Fossett flew around the world and went a bit further, taking off from the Kennedy Space Center and landing in England. But that doesn't sound like a distance record, right? Aircraft fly across the Atlantic all the time. Most people have done that here. He did it in a shockingly inefficient way, so let me clarify briefly. He took off from Florida, passed England, crossed the Pacific, passed Florida again, and landed in England. It's not the effective way to do it typically. This week's all about Spaceship One, though. Spaceship One was built to win the X Prize. And for those who may not remember, the X Prize was $10 million, the first non-commercial company to fly over 100 kilometers, the international definition of space, twice in 2 weeks with the same vehicle. Burt Rutan, who is now a texting buddy of mine, which, by the way, is a shockingly surreal experience to just occasionally text Burt, had an idea for a usable space plane, and he convinced Paul Allen, one of the co-founders of Microsoft, to back it. On June 21st, 2004, Flight 15P launched out of Mojave, dropped by the carrier aircraft White Knight 1 at 47,000 feet. Mike Melville flew Spaceship One to 320,491 feet, not that we're counting, 491 feet over the target, by the way, crossing the boundary to space. 2 more flights followed in late September and early October, which were the 2 to win the X Prize. The trophy still sits in our lobby, by the way, and every day I walk in, I worry that our door is going to hit it. I've checked when no one's looking. You can't actually hit this X Prize with the door, but it's close, and I don't want to be that guy that does that. That would be pretty devastating. This isn't about what Scaled's done, though. So it's not all Scaled's done. So in '82, we've flown more than 1 new aircraft type per year of our existence. In 2007, we're purchased by Northrop, and much of our work is supporting them now. There's no better place to work. But what happens tomorrow? Most graduation speeches include advice, which is a strange thing for me to stand up in front of this group and give people advice, but I'll do my best. I will, out of a sense of duty or tradition, share one piece of advice myself, which is largely always embrace the unexpected. You're about to embark on your test careers. We'll find excitement and challenge at every turn. Most of you have known what you'll be doing after graduation since before you first stepped onto a plane to fly to LAX from wherever you came from. You'll go home to your test squadrons, your companies, and some of you even go back to the same place you left. When you get back, you'll find very little has changed except for yourself. As a National Test Pilot School grad, you look at things with more rigor. You'll find risk more easily, and you'll find people look at you as a mentor and a leader. In a few years, you'll have choices to make. What's the next job you want? Do you want to stay in service or go into the civilian world? Do you want to venture out of your comfort zone and move from the specialty you have now into hypersonics, space, autonomy, or any of the other emerging fields in aerospace? The very world of test itself is discovering the unexpected. But when you're confronted with these difficult personal questions, trust your gut, go with the flow. And I say with some experience, as my own career has been about embracing the unexpected. Like many of you, I'm fond of airplanes. When people ask me when I decided I liked airplanes, I always say that every little boy goes through a phase where they like dinosaurs and then trucks and trains. My airplane phase lasted for about 35 years so far. At some point, I may revert to dinosaurs, which is fine. My 7-year-old son would appreciate that at this point. I first decided about airplanes. My mom was trying to show me something in a magazine. On the facing page, there's an ad from Grumman for the F-14. It was about 1989. So they would have been trying to sell the F-14D. I looked at the Tomcat on the page and thought, that's pretty cool. A few months later, I went to the Oshkosh Air Show. I grew up in Chicago, and we took the train for a one-day trip to Oshkosh. My parents decided we should take the train because at that point, before airplanes, it had been dinosaurs and then trains. It was about to cycle to airplanes. Little did they know. That day, wandering around Oshkosh, seeing the Warbirds home builds and watching the air show really set the hook. I knew what I wanted to do. I wanted to fly. Specifically, I wanted to fly jets. I wanted to pursue serving in the U.S. military. I wanted to be a test pilot, and I wanted to be an astronaut. I was single-minded in this pursuit. That was the only thing that was going to make me happy as a human. I read everything I could about military aviation, flight tests, and the space program. The walls of my room were covered in posters of fighters. I went to space camp when I was 14, and summer before my freshman year of high school, I started taking flying lessons, and I loved it. Flying was exactly what I wanted to be. I knew what I wanted to do, and I had my path mapped out. So when I started high school, I started researching requirements to pursue applying to the U.S. military academies. Had the whole thing worked out, right? Try to go to the Air Force Naval Academy, work hard, try to compete for a pilot slot. From there, try to fly fighters, then try to apply to test pilot school, and so on and so on. Many in this room have successfully completed that path. It's a well-worn and well-trod one. So like an incredibly nerdy 14-year-old, I started doing research to make my plan work for how to compete in high school, how to do that thing. I was sitting in the computer lab in my high school, and everything came apart in one moment. Naval Academy required 20/20 vision. Waivers were possible, but not for aviation. The Air Force Academy required 20/40 at that point, in the late 90s. And better than -8 adapters of correction medically qualified to compete for admission. I failed all those, and I failed them miserably. I had horrible uncorrected vision, still do today. I'd gotten glasses when I was 7 years old. At the time I was 14, my uncorrected vision was horrifyingly bad. Give me an eye test, I can maybe see there's a wall. There's no E at the top of the chart, though, for me. I promise you that. Okay? Everything came apart before it started. I was incredibly upset and had to force myself to continue those activities I'd started for the wrong reasons, to try to achieve that next thing instead of enjoying them for what they were at that moment. I had no idea what I wanted to do, so I muddled through high school, got good grades, feeling shut out of what I actually wanted to try to pursue. But through it, my love of flying never wavered, and that love of aviation never changed. I kept flying, got my private pilot's license, instrument rating, and commercial certificate. When it came time for college, I loved airplanes, so I pursued aerospace engineering, thought it'd be a good fit, went to USC. I went to USC partially because there were flight schools in the area that taught aerobatics. I wanted to challenge myself and keep flying in that way. After school, moved back to Chicago, and I went to law school. I loved aviation, but I ignored my gut and kept to keep flying because I couldn't see a future in it. So I planned to make that career pivot to law. I had no love for law, but it seemed to be safe, and maybe it was time in that of my life to take that safe bet. But I also didn't have a lot of hope then about being able to find something in aviation that suited me well. So I went to be a lawyer and remove as much hope as possible from everybody else in the universe as well, too. Started law school and pretty quickly met another student. We ended up getting married a few years later, so that was pretty close to worth it, but not fully. During that first year, I couldn't quite completely ignore the part of me that wanted to fly, though. I started a small side business with a friend, and the flight school centered around a decathlon and T6. When I wasn't studying law, I taught aerobatics, tailwheel, and flew former military aircraft. We added an L-29 and started in Cold War jets. That first summer after law school, got an internship in Chicago. I was with really good people doing really interesting work, but I realized it wasn't for me. If I stayed on the path, I was going to end up miserable. Initially, I thought I was going to finish law school and not practice, but during my second year, I realized that was the wrong choice too. So I dropped out. Leaving the comfort and socially accepted safe path was not easy. And frankly, I wasn't sure what I was going to do next. I trusted my gut to focus on the flight school, and it grew. November 2011, the phone in my pocket dings. I had an email from fedbizops.gov, back when that was a thing. Now it's sam.gov for anybody that cares, which nobody in this room does. For a federal contracting notice of QualValid, US USAF Test Pilot School in the T6. So, awesome. The Antelope Valley Hard Aerospace and Flight Test. Opened my laptop and downloaded the RFP. Looked at the requirements. Hey, I had everything. Had the certificates, had the airplane, had the time and type, had the instructor time. Then I got the last line, and it said, must have taught at test pilot school in the previous 5 years. I said, don't have that. Expletive. Shut the laptop and went back to whatever I was doing. was November in Chicago, so not much productive. A couple hours later, I kicked myself. I said, you know what? Wayne Gretzky said you miss 100% of the shots you don't take, right? So I slapped a bid on the contract together, and to say the effort was half-assed would be an understatement. It potentially used about 25% of the posterior at that point. I sent it off, and truthfully, I didn't expect to hear anything, but I knew in my gut I would regret not trying. About a week later, I get a call from a 661 area code. It was Manson Appelt, then running QA USAP NTPS, and one of the contracting officers, Rhonda Satori. I picked up, and they told me I was a low bidder in the contract. Awesome news, that's great, but I wasn't qualified. I said, hey, why am I not qualified? And they said, yeah, okay. You haven't taught test pilot school in the previous 5 years. I said, that is absolutely correct. And I'd highlighted that in my cover letter. I said, I know the Navy, though, runs a qualification program for new QE providers. Is that something you'd consider doing? They said they'd call me back and hung up. I assumed that would never lead anywhere. Surprisingly, a few days later, they called back and they said, hey, we could do an evaluation flight with me, but they couldn't pay for it. So we assume they're not going to want to do that, so we'll pass on the next contract. I said, oh, hang on. Let's not rush here. Let's talk through this quickly. I figured that I said, okay, so I'll fly with your instructors out to Chicago. I'll pay them for a time, pay a per diem, put them up at a hotel, then fly from there. And said, no, we just can't pay for your airplane. She said, hang on. You're telling me the deal is I get to fly with the instructor from Air Force Test Pilot School, and all I have to do is pay for my own airplane? Done. Let's do it. They're immediately confused, which was fun. Scott Sullivan, now test pilot for Boeing, came out to Chicago in early December, waited a few days. It was December in Chicago, so it was garbage. He stayed at the Ritz-Carlton in Chicago on Michigan Avenue. Apparently, USAF per diem is pretty good. So I think Dublin can confirm. Dublin's nodding. Yeah, it's valid. Okay. We flew past the AVAL, and 3 weeks later, I'm landing my T6 at Edwards, walking into Air Force TPS, scared out of my gourd, and immediately thrown into Evil Gray's office to meet him for the first time. Evil has the brain the size of a planet, right? Not the first guy you want to meet there when you're already intimidated, but he was incredibly welcoming and kind. Visit went well. Over the next decade, my work at Edwards grew. I continued doing QE, brought an L39 TPS for QE, started doing target and chase work JV mentioned before. Got a master's in national, which was incredibly key for my career, and started doing some work at PAX. But inflection points in life are odd. There are few you can see coming. You can see marriage, you can see children. Most you can't, except in hindsight, though. But this one I could in hindsight. Had I not chose to send that bid, things would have been different. Embrace the unexpected. November 2022, another inflection point happens. I'm standing at the ops desk back at Edwards again, about to take a student out on an NVG demo sortie, when I get a text from a buddy of mine who's a test pilot at Scaled. He asks if I can talk. It's 6:30 in the evening. You're texting if I can talk. There's no context. Everything okay? I step out. And it's like, hey, is everything all right? Yeah, it's fine. Can you talk now? No, I can't. When can you talk? 9:45. Okay, let's call me then. That doesn't sound jive with the not an emergency statement you just made. So what are we talking about here quickly? He said, yep, call him. Great. Flew, driving out the West Gate, past Rosamond Dry Lake Bed and the associated cell phone dead spot, and they give him a call. He says the current president of Scaled is retiring and had asked for suggestions of possible outside candidates to interview. He asked me if I'd be interested. I remember very clearly exactly what I said. I said, hey man, that is very flattering. You think of me that way. Obviously, there is no way that could possibly happen, but I'll always take the meeting. So sounds great. 4 months later, I'm getting the job offered to me. It has been an incredible 14 months at Scaled so far. The company is far beyond what I could have possibly imagined. I'm incredibly fortunate to work with an incredible group of people at the forefront of aviation. There is no better place to work, and I am incredibly excited to see what the next chapter brings. None of my path could have been predicted. If you would have told 14-year-old Greg that his life would lead here to this stage now, I wouldn't have believed you. And the safe money would have been in not doing that, by the way. Let's be incredibly clear about that, too. We can't overlook, I've been incredibly lucky in my life and career, right? Luckier than one person deserves to be. But I've been fortunate to not plan too much and to try to embrace opportunity that come up. As you graduate from TPS, you have no idea where you'll be in 10 years. You're joining a small elite group. The days and tests will be long. The weeks, months, and years will be short. Savor those moments, and most importantly, the people. You will not find better people than in the test community, right? We're fortunate to have a clear purpose. As you go forward to the next steps of your career, find the unexpected, grab opportunities, and embrace all those moments you get to experience. Thank you.
lesson is never give up on your dreams. When I was in high school, there was no such thing as a computer. So thanks for making me feel old.
It's easy.
Little token of our appreciation. And Greg, extremely heartfelt words. Listen to what he had to say. It's all true. So now, I guess there's something we need to do. I don't know, diplomas, something like that. So joining me on the stage to present the graduation materials will be Luca Campello, our Chief Operating Officer, and Andrea Pingiatori, Chief Flight Instructor. Each graduate will receive a professional course graduation plaque and a certificate attesting to their qualification as a test pilot or flight test engineer. Ladies and gentlemen, I would like to present the professional course graduates. 2023B test pilot, lead flight test engineer, professional course, Tente Valerio de Carrera. Distinguished graduate. Tente Santina Doroso. Italian Air Force fixed wing flight test engineer. Mr. Sean Bradley Hefner, U.S. Army Rotary Wing Flight Test Engineer.
Wow, Sean.
2024A Systems Professional Course Fixed in Rotary Wing, Marshallo Secunda Classe Marco Cataldo. Italian Air Force Flight Test Technician. Capitano Alicio De Mare, Italian Air Force Flight Test Engineer. Where's the heckling? All right. Sergeante Michele Milati, Italian Air Force flight test technician. Tente Fernando Roque Diaz Ferreira, Portuguese Air Force flight test engineer. Captain Tiago Santos, Portuguese Air Force test pilot. I don't know about these next two. NTPS graduate assistant, lead flight test engineer, professional course, and EASA Part 21, competence level 1, they're laughing at themselves. Mr. Chaska Walton Moon, Gulfstream Aerospace. Mr. Paul Richard Alvarado, Scaled Composites. The boss is right there. So every morning we start the day with a meeting as kind of a stand-up, go through the schedule, the weather and stuff like that. And these two jokers would sit in the back and heckle, just like the two dudes on the Muppets. So we call them Statler and Waldorf. Thank you, Luca and Andrea. Now joining me on the stage is Dr. Juan Rodriguez, our Chief Academic Officer for the presentation of the Master of Science degree diplomas. He didn't get the brief about walk up left. So. All right. Valerio D. Cayada, Master of Science in Flight Test Engineering. Santina Maria Doroso, Master of Science, Flight Test Engineering. Let's face it, folks, you gotta love these Italian uniforms, right? Sean Bradley Hefner, Master of Science in Flight Test Engineering. Jaime Hidalgo Caruana, Master of Science, Flight Test Engineering. This table over here is all Twitter with excitement. Are you ready for it? Olivia Grace May, Master of Science, Flight Test Engineering. Poor Olivia is going to get her first break in 5 years. She graduated from Cal Poly San Luis Obispo on Sunday and came to work with us on 8 o'clock Monday morning. So take a break, kiddo. In absentia, we have the following graduates. EASA Category 1 Part FCL Training Course Fixed Wing Test Pilot, Mr. Anthony Vallon, Pilatus Aircraft Limited, Fixed Wing Lead Flight Test Pilot, and he finished up with us in February. Master's degree graduates, are you all ready for this one? Jason Paquin, Master of Science in Flight Test and Evaluation. And Anthony Vallon, Master of Science in Flight Test and Evaluation. We have a kind of an exchange program, a credit transfer program with the United States Naval Test Pilot School. And we have one graduate there, Mrs. Megan Nee Stetler Gaston, Master of Science in Flight Test Engineering. Jeff Trang, will you please join me on the stage to present a graduate award? The National Test Pilot School Flight Test Instrumentation Award goes to Mr. Sean Hefner. Sean was the sole designer and manufacturer of the Basic Instrumentation for Engineering Research, BEER. The BEER is a 4-axis control displacement measurement system designed to characterize the longitudinal, lateral, directional, and collective control displacements on rotary wing aircraft. It also is a mounting device for a smartphone and a counter. The BEER was constructed through additive manufacturing, 3D printing, utilizing acronytyl butadiene styrene, ABS. The tape measures were secured to the aircraft inceptors using 15-pound test monofilament fishing line with designed failure points in case of binding. A good safety thing to consider. Sean's ability to perceive a need, then engineer an elegant solution to fulfill the need is commendable. Sean, well done. As I'm told, there are only 3 beers in existence. 3 beers is never enough at my house. To make remarks on behalf of the graduating class is Valerio De Chiara of the Italian Air Force. Valerio, the stage is yours. Hang on, folks. I have no idea what's getting ready to happen.
Ladies and gentlemen, esteemed authorities and distinguished representatives from various nations, the remarkable team of National Test Pilot School. It's both an honor and a pleasure to stand before you today representing the 2023 Bravo class. Allow me to extend my deepest gratitude to each and every one of you for your unwavering support and guidance throughout this remarkable chapter of our lives. First and foremost, I must express my sincere appreciation to JB, the esteemed president of National Test Pilot School, whose expertise and leadership have guided us through the clouds, sharing lots of experience and anecdotes. Then Luca, manager in the shadows, whose silent work has allowed this year to progress smoothly, with perfect coordination and without any issues. Fudge, the guy, your guy, whose myriad of interests and expertise never cease to amaze. If you're in need of an advice or assistance, and even if you're not, Fudge will flow over you, adding invaluable content to your knowledge. Andrea, gossip girl of our times, has been to go search for all things school and not school related. Whether over a cup of coffee or during a casual chat, Andrea's insight and anecdotes have contributed to improve our days. Matteo, our ULC and PNFQ instructor, has shown incredible dedication and determination in trying to transfer all his knowledge and all his high G-turns, even if the spotlight was occasionally stolen by his tire-popping adventures in the Cessna 182. JK, the epitome of kindness and politeness. Whether in the cockpit or on the ground, flying helicopters with JK has been an absolute pleasure, reminding us all of the importance of grace and gratitude in our daily lives. Russ, our seasoned veteran instructor, brings a wealth of experience and wisdom to the table, even when faced with 6 hours per day in a Cessna 182. Lex may come and go like a passing breeze, but his contributions to our journey have been nothing short of invaluable. Whether in the sky or on the ground, Lex's positive energy and expertise have left an indelible mark on us all. Franga, our guide through the labyrinth of PNFQ. With his timeless mantra, trust the process, Franga has guided us from the beginning through the darkest of the days, instilling us with a sense of hope that somehow we would have made it to the end. Jetsa, mastermind beyond our exam trials and tribulations, has pushed us to new heights of knowledge and understanding, while adding a new slides or a new questions in the exam. It is through these challenges that we've grown. Grant, we're still trying to figure out if you're a fixed wing guy, a rotary guy, or a system guy. Maybe you're of them. What a big brain. Maybe that's why getting an 80 with you is such a big challenge. Juan, whose passion for wonders of math, numbers, and significant digits has laid the foundation to our growth. To Bree, your energy and your all-weather smile was the best way to start school day. Tammy, thank you for your continuous and timely support despite all hours, plane changes, and last-minute requests. Veronica, hiding in the labyrinth of the library can never hide the precious and meticulous work you carried out every day. Diane, your Happy Fridays represented our weekly objectives beginning from the Monday. Thank you for our warm welcome and your support during the whole year. Maria, thank you for having scheduled our lives from the moment we made our first step here at school. And to Josh, your timely solutions and steadfast dedication have ensured our safety and well-being, both in the air and on the ground. Thanks to Kate, Kelsey, Chris, Paul, Chaska, and Christian. Whether assisting with data, simulators, telemetry, or everyday challenge, your contributions have not gone unnoticed. In closing, I would be remiss if I did not extend a heartfelt thank you to the maintenance personnel who work tirelessly behind the scenes to keep us safe. Though your efforts may often go unseen, know that they are deeply appreciated and never forgotten. I must extend a special mention to my classmates of 2023 Bravo, Santi and Olivia. A familiar face from before and a newfound companion on this remarkable journey have been steadfast allies through every twist and turn. The memories we have created will undoubtedly last a lifetime. Additionally, I would like to express my gratitude to those graduating alongside with us today: Anthony, Tiago, Rock, Sean, Alessio, Michele, and Marco. Your presence has enriched our classroom atmosphere, making every moment truly unforgettable. To the incoming classes of 2024 Alpha and 2024 Bravo, as you embark on the next phase of your journey, I offer a word of encouragement. Tough challenge may lie ahead. Remember to savor every moment. Find joy in the journey and extract every ounce of experience. For what lies before you is not merely a task to be completed, but a journey to be embraced with open arms. For all, as we embark on the next chapter of our journey, may we carry with us the lesson learned, the friendships, and the memories from our time here at National Test Pilot School. Thank you, one and all, for making this journey truly extraordinary. And now, if GB wants to come on stage, we have some presents that we'd like to give to the school.
Take left, shake right.
So I'm going to say a couple words. I have a longer journey to get through this, so there's a little more of a history behind the gifts that I have in here, one of which I didn't realize I was getting an award for. So the final flight representative beer that we flew, this is a basic instrumentation for engineering research. So this is the top of the line product. If you market it, it's send me any future revenue. And then
You may, the acronym is BIER, which is a shout out to his German classmate. So it's Bier auf Deutsch.
And so what's left in here, when I first came on board, Fudge, who's not here, and said I could tell all the lies I wanted to since he's not here to defend himself, pulled me aside. We had a common bond. We both lived in the trailer park. And so he prepped me for the first exam. And as I walked in and realized I was severely under-prepped and walked out and found out shortly after that I failed, he sat me down and said, "Hey, listen, no one fails 2 tests, just prep and do the next one." So after I failed the second time, he sat me down and said again, "All right, so no matter how far you lower the bar, there's always somebody who can drive the wedge underneath and raise the bar for everybody else." So what this says here is, thank you for teaching me to raise the bar one wedge at a time. And to my Australian friends, who don't know what an American flag looks like, this is the Captain American shield, and they call me Freedom. So
There's more.
From the system pushing our course. Wow. With deepest esteem and gratitude. Thank you, Jimmy.
We have a grant.
And yeah, the last thing is just it's just a little video about our amazing here at National Test Pilot School. So enjoy this video.
Everybody awake now? Thank you. You know, I saw steady diet of jets, a helicopter, and then the mighty air van. So at least you guys encompass the whole spectrum of our performance curriculum. Thank you very much. Appreciate that. I want to take a minute to thank the staff here at the Hellenic Center for their great hospitality. Thanks to Chris Collins and Diego Castellanos for providing the IT support and sending this celebration across the world. Thank you. Now, if I don't get a big round of applause on this, I'm going to hunt you all down. To Brady Wyatt, Diane Mello, Veronica Gonzalez, Kay Gunderson, Kelsey Krupika, and Christian Watt, thank you so much for putting this celebration together. It took a lot of work. Let's give it to them there. This is the most fun part of the job, absolutely. In closing, I want to thank you for attending tonight's graduation ceremony. For those of you dialing in, thank you for your time. I know it's probably some weird hours in different parts of the world. These individuals have completed a grueling course of study involving personal skill and advanced engineering concepts. You graduates have every right to be proud of your achievement. However, I remind you, be humble. This will keep essential paths of communication open to you. What you've learned here will serve you well as you go forward to enjoy what I'm certain will be a challenging and rewarding flight test career. Please be safe. You cannot be replaced. Would all the graduates join me on stage here, please? Come on up. If you got something in your hand, come on up. This is where you get your phones out, put them in the camera mode. Come on, guys, gals. Get close, get close. Wave to mom and dad, aunts, uncles. Tell them, hey, thanks a lot. We love you. And now the best part of the evening, I'm going to shut up and we're going to call this complete. Please stay up here, get all the class pictures and stuff like that so we can celebrate you online and all that, all right? So congratulations, well done, I applaud you.
Everybody in front of the flag. We should hug the flag before we go. Who's tall enough to be the flag? Yeah, well, I think it back there.
Three, 1, 2, 3.
Keep it moving.
Statler Waldorf.
I don't know who he's talking about.
Y'all need to smile. There you go.
Thank you. Very good. Indeed, all of them. Tyler. Hold on. Just yes.
All right, hold on. I want all Americans.
You want to me and Spencer?
Scale photo, scale photo.
There you go. Great, Tyler.